Tony Khan declines to comment on CM Punk in wake of explosive Helwani interview. CM Punk returned to wrestling in 2021 under the EU umbrella, but mounting issues eventually led to Punk being fired by EU CEO Tony Khan in September 2023. These not-so-old wounds were reopened by Punk in a recent interview on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani, in which Punk had a lot to say about EUE, its EVIPs, and Khan in particular, saying that he was less of a boss and more of a nice guy. In Khan's first public appearance since Punk's interview on the media call to promote the upcoming Rose Supercard of event on April 5, he was asked by Jim Varsalone of the Miami Herald if he had any thoughts on Punk's comments. "I'd prefer not to talk about that," Khan said. "I think I'd really rather focus on the card and Supercard of Honor, but thanks for asking." It was an unsurprising dodge from Khan, who has made a point of answering with some variation on no comment when asked about the various incidents regarding Punk going back to the infamous brawl-out altercation in 2022. Khan also declined comment on Punk multiple times prior to Punk's return on the first episode of EWA Collision, following a controversial Punk promo after Collision, following Punk's firing after his backstage encounter with Jack Perry at All In, and following Punk's return to WWE in November. He did finally go on the record regarding Punk a few days after the aforementioned return. Despite never mentioning Punk by name, TNT champion Adam Copeland opened up the April 3 edition of EWA Dynamite with an in-ring promo that focused on calling out all of the negative BS that had gone on the days prior, while also reminding people that EWA is where the best wrestle. CM Punk compares triceps tear from WWE Royal Rumble to previous injury. WWE star CM Punk has had a lot of bad luck over the past few years when it comes to injuries, as his tenures in both WWE and EU have been halted due to time on the shelf. Both of his reigns as EB World Champion were put on hold due to a broken foot and a torn triceps, and his in-ring return to WWE was over as quickly as it started when he tore his other triceps in the 2024 Royal Rumble. Appearing on MMA Hour, Punk explained that, despite suffering the same injury on different arms, his 2024 injury felt much worse than his 2022 injury. "This one, his 2022 injury didn't feel like anything and didn't hurt at all," Punk said. "It just felt like a rubber band snapped in my arm. This one, his current injury, I very seldomly use the word agonizing, but this was very painful. It hurt like hell." Punk was initially optimistic when he suffered the injury, as it didn't feel like his previous injury, where he tore his triceps off the bone. But once he figured out how bad it actually felt, he knew it wasn't a good sign. As far as when the injury took place, many people have cited Drew McIntyre hitting Punk with a Future-Shock DDT as the moment the injury occurred. However, Punk didn't reveal exactly when it happened, rather opting to say that he still had a part to play in the Rumble match. "Not that far into it, and I still had a bit to go," Punk said. "This is one of those things where I grab my arm, dig my finger right in there where my triceps is supposed to be, and there's just a big hole.